Does this story sound familiar? You wake up at 5 a.m. and immediately grab for your phone and start reviewing emails before your feet even hit the floor. The dopamine hits starting flowing. By 9 a.m., you've already answered 30 emails, attended 2 meetings, and crossed off 5 tasks from your to-do list. You feel like you are crushing it. But what if all of that is actually yourself just running from something? For high achievers who seem to have it all together, hyperproductivity is often just sophisticated avoidance. We pack our calendars, optimize our routines, and fill every moment with activity, not because we're ambitious, but because we're terrified of what we might discover in the silence. This video is going to dive into the psychology behind avoidance theory and how it can wreck your sense of meaning and purpose. We live in a culture that worships productivity. Hustle culture glamorizes the 80-hour work week. Self-optimization promises that if you just track enough metrics, implement enough systems, and maximize enough efficiency, you'll finally feel what exactly? Feel fulfilled? Complete? Worthy? The irony is that many people pursuing hyperproductivity are running on a treadmill that never stops. They're achieving more, but enjoying it less. They're optimizing everything except the question that matters most, which is, what am I actually optimizing for? Busyness has become our socially acceptable drug of choice. And like any addiction, it's usually masking something we don't want to face. Avoidance is one of the most powerful psychological defense mechanisms. When we face something uncomfortable, an emotion, a truth, or a realization, our brain looks for ways to not deal with it. Traditional avoidance looks like procrastination, distraction, or numbing behaviors. But there's a more insidious form: productive avoidance. Productive avoidance is brilliant because it doesn't look like a problem. You're not binge watching Netflix or scrolling social media. You're being responsible. You're getting things done. How could that be unhealthy? But here's what the research on psychological avoidance shows. It doesn't matter what you're avoiding with. It matters what you're avoiding. And when you use productivity to avoid self-reflection, you end up building a life that looks successful on the outside while feeling empty on the inside. Studies on experiential avoidance, attempting to suppress or escape uncomfortable internal experiences, consistently show it's associated with increased anxiety and depression, decreased psychological flexibility, higher rates of burnout, lower life satisfaction despite external achievements, difficulty forming authentic relationships. The person who can't sit still isn't more disciplined, they're more scared. Burnout research reveals something crucial. Burnout isn't just about working too hard. It's about working hard at things that don't align with your values, while avoiding the self-reflection that would reveal this misalignment. Christina Maslach's groundbreaking work on burnout identifies 3 core components: exhaustion, the obvious physical and emotional depletion, cynicism, growing detachment and negative feelings about your work, reduced efficacy, feeling like nothing you do matters. Notice what's missing from this list? Working too many hours. You can work 60 hours a week on something you find meaningful and not burn out. But you can work 35 hours doing work that violates your values and be completely burned out. The trap of hyperproductivity accelerates burnout because it keeps you moving too fast to notice the misalignment. You're so busy optimizing your efficiency that you never stop to ask whether you're being efficient at the wrong things, the things that are not in alignment with what you truly want. I've watched countless high performers hit walls. They come to me confused. I'm doing everything right. Morning routine, exercise, healthy eating, productivity systems. Why do I feel so empty? The answer is usually the same. You've been using productivity to avoid asking hard questions about whether this is actually the life you want. If you're trapped in hyperproductivity, it's worth asking, what might emerge if you stopped for a moment? Common truths people avoid through busyness. The career realization. I've spent 15 years building expertise in something I don't actually care about anymore. This is terrifying because it suggests you might need to start over, disappoint people, or admit you made the wrong choice. The identity crisis. I don't actually know who I am when I'm not achieving. If your entire sense of worth comes from productivity, stopping feels like death. The fear of insignificance. If I stop producing, will I matter? This existential question is so uncomfortable that constant motion feels safer than stillness. The uncomfortable desire. I want something different than what I'm supposed to want. Maybe you're supposed to want the corner office, but you actually want to teach. Maybe you're supposed to want the prestigious career, but you actually want a simpler life. These realizations don't emerge when you're moving at full speed. They show up in the quiet moments you've been carefully avoiding. When's the last time you sat in a room with nothing to do? No phone, no book, no music, no task, and just existed? For most people addicted to productivity, this sounds like torture. 5 minutes of unstructured time feels excruciating. 10 minutes feels impossible. This isn't because you're disciplined or ambitious, it's because you've lost the capacity to be with yourself. Psychological research shows that many people would rather give themselves electric shocks than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Think about that. Physical pain feels preferable to internal reflection. We've created a culture where being with yourself, without distraction, without optimization, without accomplishment, has become the thing we most desperately avoid. So how do you escape hyperproductivity without abandoning ambition? How do you distinguish between healthy productivity and productive avoidance? Practice strategic stillness. Schedule unstructured time like you would an important meeting. Start with just 10 minutes daily. No phone, no agenda, no optimization. Just sitting with yourself. Notice what comes up. The discomfort is information. What are you feeling? What are you avoiding? Audit your motivation. Before adding something to your schedule, ask, am I doing this because it moves me towards something I value, or because staying busy feels safer than stopping? The answer will reveal whether it's genuine productivity or sophisticated avoidance. Create a stop doing list. Productivity culture focuses obsessively on doing more. What if you got equally serious about doing less? List everything you're currently doing. For each item, ask, why am I doing this? What would happen if I stopped? Is this serving me or am I serving it? Then actually stop some things, not to add new things, just to create space for reflection. Notice your reaction to downtime. Pay attention to how you feel when your schedule has gaps. Anxious, guilty, uncomfortable. That discomfort is a clue. Instead of immediately filling the gap, sit with the feeling. What is it trying to tell you? Redefine productivity. Maybe true productivity isn't about how much you accomplish. Maybe it's about whether you're building a life aligned with who you actually are. By this measure, an hour of honest self-reflection might be more productive than a day of frantic task completion that keeps you from confronting misalignment. Here's what no one tells you. You don't need to optimize yourself into worthiness. You don't need to become more efficient, more disciplined, more productive to deserve rest, reflection, or simply being. The trap of hyperproductivity is believing that you're not enough as you are, that you must constantly improve, achieve, and produce to justify your existence. But what if your value isn't determined by your output? What if taking time to reflect, to feel, to question, to simply be? What if that's not selfish or lazy, but essential? It takes more courage to slow down than to stay busy. Busyness is safe. It's socially celebrated. It protects you from uncomfortable truths. Slowing down is terrifying. You might discover things about yourself, your relationships, or your life that demand change. You might realize you've been running toward the wrong destination. You might have to disappoint people who've grown comfortable with your constant availability. But here's what else you might discover. What you actually want. What brings you genuine joy? What matters most when you strip away the performance? You might discover yourself. If this resonates with you and you want to go deeper and breaking free of your conditioned patterns, beliefs, and behaviors, join the Change Mindset community. It's for the professionals brave enough to question the old playbook. The Change Mindset community isn't for everyone. It is for those who feel the shift and know they need to adapt before disruption decides for them. Inside, we don't just talk about change, we train for it. Neuroscience-backed tools and real-world leadership coaching. But here's the truth. Not everyone gets in. This is for people serious about reinvention, not just inspiration. Subscribe to this channel for powerful insights on navigating uncertainty, leading yourself with clarity, and building a mindset built for change. Then visit www.changemindset.co to start your free 21-day journey. Change waits for no one.